Hello everyone. Collecting pencils for me is, as I've said it before many times, at least in part, an exercise in nostalgia. And the pencils we're looking at today are an example of that, and they bring to mind a time in American history when large corporations or large organizations were big enough and powerful enough and had the staying power to employ our parents and grandparents for the entirety of their working lives, and then provide for their pension, etc. And, well, in some cases, the name lives on today, as we see with these General Electric pencils, but the environment in which these were used is a much different environment than it was for our parents and our grandparents. So the collecting of pencils is kind of an anthropologic or cultural study of a time and a place that we can no longer get to, and that's part of the attraction for me. General Electric, of course, was a massive company. You can still buy General Electric products today, though it's a far cry from what it was in mid 20th century, let's say. Here we have some pencils made by an unknown manufacturer. So this isn't about the manufacturer of the pencils, but it is about the pencils, because obviously General Electric was a big enough company that they were ordering massive numbers of pencils because the workforce required to manage a company of that size was substantial. Just looking at the physicality here of the packaging, nothing that says anything about who made these other than they were made in the USA. 12 superior quality lead pencils, kind of generic packaging that you would see on lots of different manufacturers' pencils back in the day. Nice blue, deep blue color. R122 must be kind of the model number. General Electric number 2 pencils. So presumably, maybe they ordered different types of pencils for different purposes for General Electric, whether it's for their main offices or some factory or field representatives or whatever the case may be. It's a pretty simple office pencil, nothing ostentatious about it. Pink eraser that's now aged and useless. If we look down on the end, the unmistakable coloration of cedar, the standard wood for pencils of this vintage. The cores look nicely centered. The erasers, as I've said, pink and petrified. Very simple silver-toned ferrules, so nothing to shout. Big money was spent on these, but rather than just buying off-the-shelf pencils from a manufacturer, Dixon or Wallace or whoever happened to be making pencils in the U.S. at that time, they had their own made because they had the financial wherewithal to do it, and they had an image to promote, and this was part of promoting that image. Not just large corporations, but you may have worked for a municipality, a city, a state government, something like that, and had a similar type of product made. Here we do know the manufacturer, A.W. Faber. Balance is the pencil name, and you can buy these. These are off-the-shelf office pencils as well, but in this case, they had them made for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I don't think these were sent to me by Scott. If they were, Scott at Thrift Store Bible, thank you for these. I'm not certain. You might have sent these. You're my main Pennsylvania contact, my main man in Pennsylvania. Ideas reduce costs. Well, I suppose it depends on the quality of the idea. Maybe ordering specially made pencils was an idea that added a little bit of expense, but maybe helped to reduce the amount of theft from the office supplies. One of the favorite things to steal from the office you work in is pens and pencils. And steal here meaning accidentally sticking it in your purse or your pocket. Also unmistakably cedar. Also petrified pink erasers. Also very simple utilitarian silver toned ferrules that are on every cheap off-the-rack pencil. Nothing on the packaging here, so you see that if indeed these came in this packaging, that Faber, A.W. Faber, was using kind of the generic office supply wrapping sleeves on their products as well. Let's just demonstrate something else that I talk about a lot on this channel, and that is the fact that a pencil can sit in a drawer for decades, or I would submit centuries, and still work perfectly fine. Still have nearby a paper for shavings from a previous video. We'll use this cheap thrift shop 35-cent sharpener because it did a good job with the jumbo pencil on the last video I made. Let's sharpen these and see. Well, not see if they will write. They will write because graphite, chemically inert, or it just has the staying power. It's not going to dry up like a pen would. That plastic is not a pleasant sound, so I apologize to those of you watching at home with headphones on. This is probably excruciating. A little bit more. Okay. Here, the rosettes, shavings. Still has a faint cedar smell after decades in storage, presumably. I wish you could see. Maybe you can. You can actually see the fine grain of this cedar right there. Love it. There too. Very nice. Okay, not that we need to test them to know they're going to work. Of course they're going to work. It's a very soft number 2 pencil. I rather like that one. I expect this one to be a little more firm and scratchy. And we'll call this, I guess we'll call it what the pencil is, not who it was made for. You can hear the difference, and you can see the difference. So I guess the fine folks working for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania thought we're going to save a buck by using 2.5 number 2.5 pencils. So there's less time spent at the sharpener, and we're laying down less graphite every time we put the pencil to the paper. And we're bit by bit saving the taxpayers of the Commonwealth money every time we do that. I think that's fantastic. So if you are afflicted with the nostalgia bug, as I am, collecting pencils is a hobby, a pastime that fits nicely with that, because for very little money, usually found for free, old pencils give you a history of a time and a place that we have sadly moved on from, but still perfectly functional after all these years. I appreciate you watching as I took this little trip down memory lane with a few pencils from General Electric and from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you here again next time.